England fight back and restore some pride, and we have an actual fast bowler that bowls fast, takes wickets, and is English. Podcast 65 is here. I'm Rob, one half of Leading Edge Cricket, joined by the co-host of the show, Rich.
Hey Rob, how you doing? You sound like you've been inspired by the fastness of the fast bowling fast bowler.
I know.
By doing a very fast intro.
Oh, it's just everything's making life go fast. I feel like the clocks are going faster. But it feels a massive moment as an English cricket fan, and everything we said on the last podcast, can we sit back now, breathe, and go, Mark Wood is potentially a legitimate fast bowler in Test cricket?
He is legit. Look, let's get one thing straight, and I've said this to somebody on through Twitter. That Mark Wood that we just saw in this third test is not the Mark Wood we were talking about.
Correct.
Everything we said, everything I said, I stand by 100%. That Mark Wood, the pre-third test Mark Wood, is not a test bowler. This Mark Wood, this is not the same fella. This is a different bloke altogether. I'm telling you now. So this was so good to see. The guy's gone away. He's got rid of that stupid run up, like he's pushing off like the I don't know. He's like playing backyard cricket, and you're only allowed to run off 4 paces or something ridiculous. He's got a proper run up, and he's got some juice. He's got some serious gas. Loved it. Absolutely loved seeing it. Obviously, he's sorted himself out fitness wise. He's got his injuries clearing up. It's fantastic. Kudos to the selection. Obviously, they saw what process was going through. Brilliant to see. Great stuff.
Yeah, it is incredible. I think it's the culmination of all those things that you just said. One, it might be the first time he's been injury-free in about 2 or 3 years. You don't really know what state the guy's going in, and quite often guys aren't at 100%, and he looked at 100%, and obviously a run-up. An actual run-up. How many fast bowlers in the history of Test cricket have had little push-off run-ups off about 10 yards? Not very many, let me put it out there. There's only probably Wasim Akram that had a fairly short run-up later on in his career. Mark Wood, it's slightly different category. So all those things coming together, it kind of fills it with a little bit of hope. And you put this Mark Wood with Broad, with Anderson, with Moeen Ali, who's got the most Test match wickets since August as a spinner, and you go, this England bowling attack with Ben Stokes isn't bad.
It's looking better, isn't it? It's looking better. We'll obviously get on to the third test and the series as a whole in a moment, but yeah, it's before the third test we were a little bit, I don't know, maybe we were just feeling a little bit pessimistic, wasn't we?
We were jaded as well as fans.
I think that's right. We're looking at Australia with one eye and going, how on earth is suddenly Australia looking more organised and in better shape than England? It was just, I think West Indies, they played really, really well for the first 2 test matches, but we were asking West Indies to continue that. So that's one thing we need to consider. This youngish, inexperienced to a point West Indies team was going to have a drop-off in performance. The performance levels they had in the first 2 tests were really, really high. So it was inevitable, wasn't it, that we wasn't going to play that exact same team again. They were missing Jason Holder. Huge miss, wasn't it? We're talking about the best all-rounder in world cricket at the moment. So obviously that combined with 1 or 2 other things and just things being, everything being equal, they were going to have a drop off. So England had that in their favour. But they had, their pride was hurt, wasn't it? They knew the criticism was coming from all angles. Individuals' new performances weren't there. And also selection, people were given opportunities. Now, we'll get into it. Not everyone took their chances, let's say. But the combination of all those factors just meant that this was, I suppose it was almost destined for a better performance, especially after we slated them as much as we did.
Yeah, we definitely did, mate. And I think that's a great segue into what actually went on in the third test match, because we sat there and we were going through the selection, and I think it was tea time on day 1. England were batting, and they were about 114 for 4, and Joss Butler and Ben Stokes had just come into the crease.
Yeah, it wasn't a great start, was it? So obviously just catching everybody up. I'm sure nobody's been living under the rock and they know what happened. But yeah, West Indies won the first test by 381 runs. 10 wicket victory in the second test. We get to St. Lucia. Oh my goodness, did St. Lucia look gorgeous. So the first innings, England ended up with 277. Jennings had already been dismissed, hadn't he? Denley had gone. We thought, that might be it for Denley. Root was hanging around. But it was a strange first innings, wasn't it, really? The middle order is where it did tick. Josh Butler, Ben Stokes, 67 and 79, respectively. And then it just fluttered to an end, didn't it? Bairstow Alley, nobody really got any runs down at the bottom there. 4 wickets for Kemar Roach. This bowling attack, let's just talk about that for a second as well. Shannon Gabriel, Alzari Joseph, Kemo Paul, young fella. It feels like he's been around for ages. We spoke about him once or twice, I'm sure we have, for West Indies against England Lions and what have you. it was still a consistently good bowling display, wasn't it? So 277 first innings, Rob, obviously under par. Obviously, top order issues persist, but credit to West Indies at the same time, really, isn't it?
Yeah, Stokes and Butler did such a good job that final session of day one to put us in a really good position. And at the end of day one, Rich, we were sitting quite pretty, to be honest, and in a position didn't think we'd be 2-3-1 for 4. But then up comes day 2, and we weren't quite good enough to go back to back and put in some decent performances and go back to back sessions, really, because West Indies won the first couple of sessions, and we went like a whole. Just a deck of cards, and Johnny Bairstow, Timber. You've heard the song, I'm going down, I'm yelling thunder or yelling timber. It's literally Johnny Bairstow, left, right and centre. The guy, 33 balls, 2 runs, and cleaned up. Straight through the gate once again with 1 nipping back. If you're going to bowl at the lad, just bowl straight at the stumps. It's a club cricket call, isn't it? Just bowl straight.
Yeah, full straight and fast. Just the untouchables, aren't they? The middle order untouchables. A couple of them played well. Butler certainly played well. Ben Stokes also did play well, and it was interesting to see the strike rates as well. One of the criticisms, obviously, was the way that we were going in such an attacking manner. It was quite good to see people build innings. You're not asking the world, are you? You're just asking people to get in. It's not new. Cricket's such an old sport. You don't have to keep reinventing everything. Sometimes you just need to get yourself in. You need to see the ball before you can start hitting the ball. Bairstow maybe went the opposite direction. 2 off 33 deliveries, 75 minutes at the crease for 2 runs. You'd have fancied yourself nicking one off through slips for 4, wouldn't you, in that amount of time?
Yeah.
Strike rate of 6.06. Maybe that's wwhy suddenly you had the moment, should we put it that way?
I agree, mate. It's a huge point to England to go, because George Doble, Cricinfo, boy racers, and we like that. That was a really pinpoint accuracy of what this England team is built on. Bits and pieces players that can hit a cricket ball quite well. That's basically the crux of the middle order for a long time, and that's why it's been failing. And to see Butler and to see Stokes respect the opposition enough to go, you know what, this team's battered us for 2 test matches. They're really good. I can't hit every single ball for 4. It may be just what England needed, mate, with the Ashes rolling around to go. We got hammered for 2 test matches, but we understand test cricket for what it is. It's a challenge. It's the hardest format of the game out there. And you know what? Sometimes the opposition are bloody good, and you've got to be at your bloody best.
Yeah, I mean, in all sport, I've always been a great believer in, let the opposition think about you. But you still need to just, I suppose in this day and age, with the way the game's gone, you have to respect the opposition. You have to consider it. And the way, science and analysis is into games, whether it's football, cricket, whatever it is, you've got to kind of dig in and have a look, haven't you? There's no point going in unarmed with all the information that's out there. So maybe, I think as well, maybe that I don't want to say there's arrogance in the England setup, but maybe there was a little bit of arrogance of thinking when they went into this series. And we'll get into it, I'm sure, as well. Third test come around, well, they've had 2 good games of cricket and then they play well in the third game. Could that be an argument to say maybe a couple of warm-up games first?
It could well be, mate.
Just throwing that out there a little bit.
Just a little bit, just a little fish hook for someone to get on the end of.
so 277 England finished the first innings. 1-5-4 all out, though, for West Indies. And this is where we all, the ears pricked up. We all turned the channel if we were looking at something else, and we tuned in to the West Indies batting. 41 for John Campbell. He did pretty well at the top of the order, and 38 down towards the lower order for Dowridge. Nobody else contributed. It was incredible, wasn't it? Jimmy, none for 31. Brody, 1 for 42. Moeen Ali continued his great form, like you pointed out, Rob. Great start, and I'm sure you'll expand on that in a little bit. 4 for 36. But Mark Wood, this is what it was all about. 5 for 41. 8.2 overs, serious gas. 4.92. We're not going to worry about that economy because there's balls flying left, right, and centre off shoulders of bat and all sorts, wasn't there? It was so nice as well. Before this game, his best was 3 for 39. Never had a 4 for, never had a 5 for it in Test match cricket. So this spell was special.
It was, mate. It's what every England fan dreamed of. That just someone would take the bull by the horn. It's, the England selectors have seen it in the nets or the warm-ups or whatever. And they just take the opportunity and be the guy. He's there as, I hate the term, but enforcer. To bowl fast, you have one job. To really, really bowl fast and give this England team something different from Brody bowling mid-80s and Jimmy bowling 80s. And he did exactly that. And we've seen it in this England team. 2004, Harmison went there, got 7 for 12. And the Aussies were petrified of him when he turned up in the 2005 Ashes. This Mark Wood, walking into the Ashes, giving him a hard cherry against the Aussies, they are not going to want a piece of that.
No, not one bit, mate. Not one bit. And it's just a little bit of fire with fire, isn't it, as well? If we can, we've got to match that bowling unit, haven't we, as we look ahead to the Ashes? But yeah, it was certainly impressive. It was one of the more exciting kind of spells of cricket, wasn't it, as well, that we've seen in a long, long time, especially with an England bowler. And this is maybe what we thought Ollie Stone might bring. So it's really, really pleasing to see, and it gives an option as we go forward. So that was where the game sat at the end of the first innings. England had to take advantage, 120-odd lead. They had to take advantage and really put this game away from West Indies. And absolutely, to be fair to England, they did do that. They had 361 for 5 declared. They batted another 100 overs, which was fantastic. Both innings over 100 overs for England. But the problems remain at the top of the order, Rob. The first wicket, Rory Burns went. He got himself 10 in this innings, followed up to 29. Big question mark will still remain over his head, or against his name, whatever you want to say, as we go towards the summer. Keaton Jennings, bless him, 23. He could not have been more unlucky with his dismissal. It's down as bowled Alzari Joseph, but it wasn't, an in-swinging Yorker that cleaned up all 3 stumps. It was one of those that feels like it hits every part of your body below the hip before it rolls onto the stump. So a bit of bad luck, but you know what? You've had enough opportunity, Keaton, so appreciate your efforts, mate. Have a sit down and go and enjoy watching the Ashes on TV. Joe Denley, I was pleased about this though, Rob. 69, he had himself admitted that he feels like he left a few runs on the field. If he had gone on and got himself an 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, I think we're locking him into this Ashes batting lineup.
Yeah.
It's a question mark still. He didn't quite do that. But Joe Root, we've criticised him. He hasn't got himself the big scores, but he got himself 122. Superb innings. Josh Butler 56 and Ben Stokes 48 not out. So good contribution from those two guys in the middle order again before the declaration came, Rob.
Yeah, good performance by England. Like you said, questions at the top. Keaton Jennings, the fact that he was brought back into this test match was a massive shock to us all, but I like the move of Denley to number 3. Denley's a naturally attacking player and a very good player at county level for a long time. And, 10 years ago he made his one-day international debut, and it took him 10 years since his last game to get back into the England setup, and he's earned it. He's clawed his way there. And I thought I saw enough of him in this innings to go, you know what? There's probably enough there to start the Ashes at number 3, but he will have to do his job in county cricket and go and keep scoring runs.
Yeah, it all depends on the balance, doesn't it? Again, we're starting to look towards the summer, aren't we? We can't help but do that. Denley, if you remember, if anyone else remembers, when he first was announcing these squads for the winter, somebody on this podcast was saying that this man at number 3, he could be a Jonathan Trott for this little era.
Yeah.
Batting there, and I still like that. I would like to see him get that opportunity. It all depends on how they want to shake it out, doesn't it? It depends who starts scoring runs. We're going to be dropping some articles, aren't we, when the website goes live, which we keep saying it's imminent, but it really is imminent. And there's one lining up for there as well, looking at kind of those top order batsmen as we get towards the summer, and also at looking at some of the top order batsmen that have gone before, Rob, as well.
Yeah, all 15 of them since 2012.
Exactly. So yeah, I would like to think Denley's done pretty well as well. So who knows? He's certainly given himself a shout. Jennings, I think we can definitely say maybe he's not going to be involved.
Well, the thing is, you say definitely, but we've said definitely before, and he still keeps popping up, mate. He's like a teenager with acne. It's just like you get rid of one and then 2 more pop up, and there's got to be something else.
Jennings.
It feel like when I look at him, I think of Kerry and Perry Goes Large, mate.
Oh, Kevin and Perry. All right, I did not expect that then to come out there.
There's the scene with the big spot, and the spot explodes.
Nice.
I know. I'm digging deeper, but
don't dig too deep.
Jennings has got to go. I think Burns has got to go and keep scoring some runs and score runs against Ireland when they play the 4-day test against them. Denley, I feel, has done enough. I feel this was natural Joe Denley, and he looked the part to me. Root, what can you say about Joe Root? He stepped up and did what the skipper's supposed to do. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, really? We want to give him a lot of credit for going and getting 122. But
it's kind of, maybe we've been a little bit spoiled, but maybe he should have done that anyway. In 6 innings, he's got 177 runs, and that was 122 of them.
Yeah.
So we'll give him credit. Absolutely give him credit. Well done, Skip. But you should have been doing this. You should have been scoring a few more runs a little bit earlier, shouldn't you?
Yeah. What about Butler and Stokes, mate? What do you make of them? Because we've given them not abuse but criticism over the course of this series, going they're just not doing enough to warrant the place. But here, they've both had very, very good Test match innings to get England out of a hole and then to force the declaration.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 untouchables, as I'm going to be calling them. Stokes gives us the balance, doesn't it? Stokes, on his day, is a really, really good cricketer.
Yeah.
Really good cricketer. I'm not saying he's great. He's a really good cricketer. And I think we just need to understand where he is as a player, especially over the last 12 months. Hopefully he becomes great, but he's not there yet. Butler, I don't know. I'm really struggling still with how I see Butler. Butler was one of my favourite cricketers for years. ODI, T20, I loved him, loved the kind of the ramps and all this sort of stuff, and how in the ingenuity he used to show as a batsman. I like him. I like the fact that he's in the Test setup. I didn't like when he was picked and what he had done before he got picked. And I'm still not convinced that he's necessarily a long-term answer. I think there's a stat out there that since he came back in the side, he's scored more half-centuries than anyone else in the England side. So it's difficult to single him out and say, well, actually, I'm not so sure about him. Maybe somebody else should be taking his spot. So I don't know. The answer for all that is I don't know yet.
Is
I
it
like
where
him as
he
a
is?
cricketer.
Is that the problem for you? Is he's not on number 5? If you picked him at 7, you'd probably snap his hand off every single day of the week, wouldn't you?
Possibly. But then, is he in the team as my wicketkeeper then? If he's at number 7,
that's a great question. That's why we've got no folks.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. And I made quite a big deal about that. I would like to see folks in the team, and that's where I kind of remain. And there's I know we're going through the game here, but Trevor Bayliss has come out, hasn't he? And he's been talking about that they're probably going to leave this middle order. He appreciates that these guys are middle order, the Bairstows, etc. So the top 4 potential question marks, obviously Root at 4, and then he's pretty much going to go with Butler, Stokes, Bairstow and wicket keeping at 7, and then Ali at 8. He wants to leave that. So folks, basically, I think he was saying that it's going to be really tough for folks to come back in. And that frustrates me. That it feels like already he's closing his mind off a little bit. Oh yeah, Johnny knows what the game is. We want Johnny. We like Johnny. Johnny's best mates with everybody. Hence the untouchables tag that I'm kind of sarcastically using a little bit. And I don't know. I just feel that they're not doing enough to warrant it. Butler is starting to do a little bit here. Stokes is coming back to form, and because of his obviously what he gives with the ball, he's really, we need him there, and he's entitled to that position. But Bairstow as wicketkeeper and number 7, I'm not convinced. He needs to go and really, really start properly putting the hammer down and scoring some big runs. Yeah. Obviously, they're coming up into the ODI stuff soon. That's probably where he's better these days, isn't it? So maybe that'll get him going as the summer starts. So it's a difficult one, Rob. Really is, and I'm not.
I'll throw a Bairstow stat at you. I like stats. Mm-hmm. 2017, 2018, and 2019, he has averaged less than 34.
Okay. So he ain't really the player that we're told he is.
No, he's not. He's not a consistent top 6.
Nope. If that's somebody else averaging less than 34 for that period of time, would they be still in the team?
Yeah, you're exactly right, mate. You're exactly right. So England 3-6-1 for 5 declared. A good declaration. Gave themselves a bit of time to bowl at the West Indies. Sorry, I take that back. They did not give themselves time to bowl at the West Indies. They declared on day 4 and got stuck into them.
Yeah, they did, and it was it was good to see. It was good, positive captaincy. Decent declaration. I reckon 485 was a target, and I wouldn't have put it past West Indies, to be honest, with the way they played this series. But this game, it just felt like England's, didn't it? Craig Braithwaite, standing captain, he would have liked to have really dug in and batted along, but he only lasted a couple of overs. His partner John Campbell had already gone after just 3 balls in the innings. Jimmy Anderson dismissing both the openers inside 3 overs. Really good all-round performance again from England, but they were made to earn it, weren't they? Roston Chase, 102 not out there, batting at number 5. So that was really good to see. And everybody kind of chipped in as we went down the order, including Kimo Roach and Alzari Joseph. 34 for Joseph as well down at 9. Good to see. Decent strike rates down the order as well. I like that. But yeah, good bowling again. Jimmy Anderson, 3 for 27 off 11. Jimmy came into his own in this one. Ben Stokes, 2 for 30. And then three even for 99 off 21 overs for Ali. Shows that they did have to work hard for this one. Mark Wood, and this is probably a little bit of a point. First innings, we were all of us, excited about his performance. But we do need to just temper things a little bit. The second innings, he still bowled with good gas. He still bowled well, but 1 for 52 off 12. Wasn't quite the destructive bowler we kind of expected him to be after we saw his first innings. And just going forward, I want him to be that first innings bowler, but I just need to see it consistently.
Couple more times. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Give me a couple more times and I'm going to be really excited. I'm going to be aboard the wood train.
The wood train. We're rolling back the years. We make our trains out of wood.
Exactly.
There's one guy that I want to single out in this, and we're going to get into it, so we're just going to do a bit of a review of the stats from the series. But Moeen Ali, after a dodgy first test, has had 2 fantastic second and third test matches. 4 wickets in the first innings, 3 wickets here. He's just always chipping away, isn't he, as a bowler?
Yeah, definitely. You've obviously mentioned kind of what he's done over the last X amount of time, but also Wisden tweeted out recently, last 8 tests, 44 wickets, an average of 23.34 with best of 5 for 63.
Not bad.
No one in world cricket has taken, well, not bad, exactly. No one in world cricket has taken more test wickets since his return to England side for the 4th test against India last summer.
Well, the thing is, Ed Smith dropped him and said he's not a first-line spinner. He's not a front-line spinner for this England team. Well, he comes back and he's doing all right for himself, isn't he? Yeah,
exactly. Well, I don't think this podcast is the one that's probably the most positive about Ed Smith and the kind of the inconsistent selection policy, are they? So by him dropping Moeen Ali and then putting him back in, who knows?
Who knows?
But then, who knows exactly? That sounds like a Tawleyism. Hi, Tawley.
Hey, Tawley.
But I don't know. Maybe Moeen Ali was probably right to be dropped at that point. Maybe the criticism did burn. Maybe he didn't need the criticism. Maybe you could have dropped him without saying he's not a frontline bowler or a batsman. Maybe that wasn't necessary. It wasn't some genius psychology. Maybe that was just being quite crass and kind of just poor form, really. Just not required.
Poor form.
Bloody form.
A very good performance by this England, and one we needed to see. Like, I look at this and I go, we did so well in the test series in Sri Lanka. We won 3 tests. We got battered in the West Indies for the first 2, but we won the last one. So we won 4 out of 6 test matches in the West Indies where it's hard to win and Sri Lanka where it's hard to win. And taking away the 2 test matches where we got battered, you've got to look at that win team. You go, England, that's pretty good.
It's not bad. It's bookended quite well, hasn't it? It started really well. We had a fantastic time in Sri Lanka. We can't say enough how much we need to look back on that. We just see that for the achievement it was. It was exceptional. But West Indies, this is going to... My one concern about this is that it's going to paper over some cracks.
Yeah.
We need to make sure it's not forgotten with how poor, massively ordinary this team was for 2 test matches. 3rd test, we did really well, but they were missing their absolute, linchpin player in Jason Holder, the captain, the all-rounder, the wicket taker, the double centurion. So that's a massive, massive loss, wasn't it? With his suspension, obviously what we spoke about. So it's not been a bad winter. Let's put it that way. But it could have been a heck of a lot better after Sri Lanka. We'd have probably said Sri Lanka was the series where it might have been. We might have seen a couple of draws, maybe 1 win, but nothing too overwhelming, whatever it was. I don't know. We might not have been quite as blown away by what they did in Sri Lanka. And this is the one that we should have done better in. So, but full respect to West Indies. I keep saying it. Quick one on the win, Rob, as well. 67 test wins for Jimmy Anderson. This was number 67. He's now equalled the record, which was held by Alistair Cook. So Jimmy Anderson is very, very quickly going to be becoming the record test wins as an England test player.
Good on, and well deserved as well. And it's a nice little segue into how good Jimmy has been in this series. So one thing we want to do, we want to look at the stats from the series. And we'll start off with the England bowling, mate. Which, I'm not going to talk about Mark Wood in there, because he only played the 1 test match, but 6 wickets at 15 is very, very good. But you take the crux of the team. So you've got your Ben Stokes, your Moeen Ali, Jimmy Anderson and Brodie. Okay.
Yep.
Stokes, 10 wickets at 22. Superb series. Moeen Ali, 14 wickets at 23. Jimmy Anderson, 10 wickets at 24. And Brodie, who only played 2 test matches, 4 wickets at 30.
He's been unfortunate, though, hasn't he? Unfortunate. And there's another little stat, actually, that I've just stumbled on. It's at Crick Prof. Butler's drop of Campbell was the 96th dropped catch off Broad's bowling in his career.
Wow.
Since the start of 2006, no other bowler has had as many catches dropped off his bowling.
That's quite worryingly. That's a hell of a lot.
Exactly. And worryingly, you look at this table since 2006, Broad is out top at 96. Second place, Jimmy Anderson, 83 dropped catches.
Oh, you got thick skin. And you've probably owed a lot of pints when you retire.
Exactly. So with Brodie, I'm always going to just kind of put that. It just seemed the eyeball test. It just seemed like he got a lot of catches dropped off him.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit like you, Rob. With me bowling, was it Thrumpton, Rob? Was it when you?
It could be one of many grounds, to be honest.
When you went and mopped up after I had, but was it 3 catches dropped in 4 balls or something like that? And then you went and got a 7 for him.
I wasn't all 3 though. I wasn't all 3.
No, that's very true.
I was a couple.
It might be 4. Not quite sure.
One thing on Brodie's bowling, mate, is his economy rate. So we know he bowled well in this series. We watched it. We saw it. 66 overs, an economy rate of 1.86. Jimmy Anderson, 98 overs, the most of any England bowler, 2.49. So the opening bowlers, excellent. Control, pressure, and Jimmy, especially, consistently with the wickets, but Brodie just very unluckily not to get more.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing with Brodie. You look at an average, you see, only 4 wickets in 2 test matches, not what you'd probably want from Brodie. But like you say, 1.86. Bowled with great control, absolutely great control. 26 maidens in those 2 games as well, which was second to Jimmy Anderson by 1 in the series as well. So that builds pressure, doesn't it, as well? And I'm sure another day he would have took more wickets, certainly in the second test and probably in the third test as well. Sam Curran, just a little mention, bless him. 2 test matches, 1 for 161, and an economy of 3.83. Disappointing, obviously, for him. He'll be hoping to come back strong, start the summer. And try and reclaim his place now. Where that place is, I suppose it could be depending on the way that the conditions are playing, isn't it? But he's had the experience of this, and it'll do him good in the long run.
Yeah, he will. He's been a great cricketer. He did well in English conditions. You're not going to win them all, and strike rate of 252 isn't the best that he's ever going to have in his career. But he'll bounce back. He's a good young player, and he's good enough. But when we take Mark Wood out of this equation of the bowling averages, Rich. The best bowling average for an England bowler is Ben Stokes.
Okay.
The best batting average for England in this series with 37.20 is Ben Stokes.
Yeah, that's the Ben Stokes we want, isn't it? We want to see him consistently putting performances together, and that's certainly what he's done in this series. It's fantastic to see. High score of 79, as I said. He's not gone out and got that big score, but I'm sure that will come. But yeah, this is what we want. If we need a wicket, we need something to happen, they'll throw him the ball. And if we're, as we always seem to be 3 or 4 wickets down, we know that he's going to come in and put up a bit of a rearguard action. Probably him and Josh Butler, it seems, at the moment. But he'll contribute with that. So it's really, really good, isn't it, to see that he's starting to come back to a bit of form. Obviously, it hasn't been the easiest of times for him since the nonsense with the old nightclub.
The nonsense with the nightclub, I like that.
Nonsense with the nightclub.
It's a difficult one for Stokes because his rehab of getting back to an England player is actually doing it on the pitch for England because we were crying out for him so bad.
True.
So it is hard for him, right?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And he's only going to get better again, isn't he? And he's big match, isn't he? He's a prime time player. So when we get round to that summer and the Ashes are on, he's going to be the one going to the front, isn't he? Leading the battle cry. And why is it though? Every series he ends up really falling out or really rubbing up the wrong way one of the main opposition players. Every single series.
Oh, we've all played with guys like that, mate. He's competitive. he's competitive, and he likes to really give it some, doesn't he? And it's going to happen. Some days you're just going to clash, and I like the fact he leads from the front for this England team.
Yeah, exactly. The England setup, they are starting to develop quite a kind of a good way of just grinning back at the bowlers as they're getting really, really angry. Which
AKA
obviously,
Joe Root. That's a nice segue if I ever heard one.
yeah. Well, I think it's a premature one, to be honest. I reckon we need to speak about some of these West Indies bowlers, to be honest, as well, for this series, Rob. Kemar Roach, you talk about opening bowlers, but Kemar Roach was sensational. 18 wickets at an average of 13.88, 2.58 economy. That's something else, isn't it?
Yeah, that's top level gravy. That is 18 wickets.
18 wickets in a 5-match series is like, oh, he's had a pretty good series. 3-match series, that's top stuff.
He's a great bowler, mate. 184 wickets at an average of 27 in a West Indies team that's been inconsistent and average for the majority of that period.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's just, I feel like he's going to just kind of coax this setup through as well. Alzari Joseph is a really exciting talent, 10 wickets in the series. Shannon Gabriel, the enforcer, quick lad, he kind of roughed people up a little bit, didn't he? 9 wickets. I think he probably deserved a little bit more than that. But both of those boys, kept it pretty tight. Well, Gabriel just under 3.5 for Joseph. Joseph, really tough series considering what he went on with the personal matter with his mum passing away. Jason Holder as well, Rob, 7 wickets. Not a lot, you might think, but in the 4 innings, that's an average of 17.85 with a 2.76 economy rate. So it's been a really, really solid performance from West Indies. I think that just needs to be highlighted, especially with Kemar Roach leading the way.
It's when you get the wickets as well, right? When when you're watching and it's a dull piece of cricket and someone just pulls one out of the bag and. Kemar Roach with a new ball was superb, and he had walking wickets of Keaton Jennings there the whole time. Irrelevant. But Jason Holder was the guy, almost like Flintoff used to be for England when he was at his best, where there's not really a lot happening. You throw him the ball and all of a sudden he picks up a wicket. That's how I see Jason Holder. He's a real game changer for this team.
Yeah, and he led the series with runs scored, didn't he? 229 in 3 innings as well. I mean, 202 not out. That kind of helped, didn't it? Yeah, he did. And Shane Dowrich as well. He was second top scorer as well with his 116. I mean, you look at that as well, don't you? We had 100 for Roston Chase. I was a little bit disappointed with the likes of Shimron Hetmeyer. I thought he might do a little bit better. He got himself 81, didn't he? Campbell was kind of a little bit. He's another one of those. I don't want to call him gritty. That's a bit wrong, but he's quite workmanlike at the top of the order. And Braithwaite as well. Maybe he'll be a little bit disappointed he couldn't go on and just score a few more runs. But the openers in this series, that wasn't the story, was it? It was the middle order, as it always seems to be at the minute.
Yeah, it was. They outperformed England in so many different facets of those first 2 tests. They weren't even close, really, were they? It was the third test has really padded the England stats, because we were saying before in the last podcast, is it the worst tour of the West Indies of all time? I can look at it after 3 tests and go, no, it's not. But if England got drubbed in this third test, there's a real case for it being the worst tour test series that England have probably ever had.
Yeah, and we've had some shockers in the West Indies, haven't we, over the years, I'm sure. So yeah, we've put it to bed, Rob. We certainly were both wrong. I said 2-1 to England, I believe. I think, what did you say?
I said 1 apiece.
Did you say 1 apiece?
I said 1 apiece.
I don't know about that.
I think Torley went 2-1.
Or did he say 3-0?
Oh, he might have gone 3-0, one of the two, but I definitely went 1 apiece. I had a little bit of doubts around Keaton Jennings, around some of the players.
So you're pretty confident then. I'm not sure if that's revisionist history going on there, but I'll go with you. I will believe you, Rob, that you were 1-1. So that's a pretty good shout. Torley, he will correct us if we're wrong, but that's a shocker. But we didn't call it a shocker at the time. But we certainly all thought that England were going to do a lot better. So the world of cricket is in a better place, in my opinion. I'm sure in everyone else's opinion that this West Indies team is for real. They've got some serious cricketers and they're going to be coming strong. And roll on the ODIs, Rob.
Yep, can't wait. That'll be a separate podcast dropping in the next 3 or 4 days. We're going to break down the one-day series that's coming up, the squads. And unfortunately, give our predictions on what the score's going to be once again.
That won't be the highlight.
So coming a bit closer to home for me, Rich, I'm feeling a bit homesick at the moment. Let's take a quick look at New Zealand, Bangladesh. So the India series has been and gone. Great series for India. However, they did lose the T20s, and the first one they've lost in about 12 or 13 series. So big moment for the Black Caps, and they're hosting Bangladesh.
We've had Sri Lanka, Rob. We've had India, and now Bangladesh. It's been a jam-packed summer, hasn't it, for you guys? All the way down there.
Yeah, all the way. Can't get any further away. It's
You're not down under. You're like down under, aren't you?
Yeah, it's like the song that goes down, 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 down. You get to New Zealand at the end of that, mate.
Oh, I apologise. I'm sorry.
I apologise for robbing him about and after.
Bangladesh. This ain't a normal Bangladesh side. This is a pretty good side these days, isn't it? So
they are, especially
what do we got,
white ball cricket, mate. They're a decent white ball team.
They are, and they've got some names as well, haven't they? You know, Tamim Iqbal still knocking around, isn't it? Mushfiqur Rahim, etc. You know, there are players in this setup that are going to do some good, and can kind of cause some trouble. Mamadullah, he's in there, so they can't be taken lightly. But first ODI, Rob Napier, your boy Guptill, man of the match, got New Zealand the win. 8-wicket victory for New Zealand, Rob. 33 balls remaining. That's a canter, isn't it?
It is. Guppy. He's
Guppo.
You know, there's been a lot said about him and Colin Munro at the top of the order in the last few months because both have been out of form and both are superb ODI and T20 players. And Munro got some runs against India in the last one, and Guppy steps up here, 117 off 116 balls to take it home. But there's another part of the story that kind of needs telling about this Black Caps team at the moment. One, you've got Mitchell Santner back into the team, who adds good balance and is the top spinner in the country. He really is, and gives them balance down the order. He picked up 3 wickets. You've got Bolt, you've got Matt Henry, who had a superb season in England in first-class cricket, bowling in the first team as well. And you've got Lockie Ferguson as a fast bowler, a genuine 145, 150 clicks fast bowler, who's starting to become an international cricketer. It takes that time, doesn't it, to really hit the ground running, and he's just starting to get there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's great to see Mitch Santner back in world cricket, Rob. If we had to do just forget about talent, but purely on the players that we're kind of rooting for, our favourite players at the minute in world cricket, I reckon Mitch Santner would be in the Leading Edge Podcast 11.
Easy.
We had huge hopes, huge expectations for him, probably this time last year, and then obviously he disappointingly got himself injured. I think, was it prior to the English summer? I know he's supposed to be coming over to England, wasn't he?
It was.
Or at least very early on. So massive disappointment. But yeah, it's great to see him back involved. Lockie Ferguson, the game needs more quick bowlers. This is what we want. Bring them on more and more. It's just great cricket. We saw it with Mark Wood. It's so exciting. You know, you suddenly drop everything else you're doing. You watch, don't you, when these quick bowlers are playing. So great to see. Matt Henry as well, like you say, he had a heck of a summer, didn't he? He took wickets everywhere. So, yeah, a good performance, and it just sets it up, doesn't it? Henry Harvey-Nichols, Rob, opening the batting, is that a normal thing?
It's a new thing. So Colin Munro had been failing for a while, and Henry Harvey-Nichols came up in the India one-day series, and this is the first time he's really made an impact in one-day international cricket. A decent 53. He didn't have to accelerate too much when you've got Guppy at the other end going bonsai, and Ross Taylor, the second best one-day international cricketer in the world in terms of runs and average since the last World Cup.
Stud. I love the fact as well that his initials are LRPL. It sounds like a crap firm of accountants, doesn't it? But I love that. But he's just, I mean, that's a really nice top four, isn't it? Guptill, Nichols, Williamson, Taylor. And when we talk about Nichols, obviously we're talking about a guy that was one of the better cricketers in the last 12 months, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He nearly got in our kind of team for 2018. So that is a really, really good top order. And then you've got Tom Latham coming in. Then you've got de Grandhomme hitting it. Neesham, I've not seen much of him, Rob. Is he a player?
Mate. Long ball.
Yeah, a long ball. He's a golfer. Did you also see Tom Latham go for his legs when he was keeping and scrambling to try and avoid the 5 as it hit the helmet?
No, I didn't. I missed that.
They're the sort of things that the game needs more of. Forget what I said about fast bowlers. Who cares about them? I want to see wicket keepers scrambling to try and deflect the ball away from hitting the helmet.
That seems about. Maybe we need obstacles on the pitch.
Yes. Oh, can you imagine? I'd love that. Yeah, that could be something.
Solid.
That's better than 100-ball cricket already.
Yeah. So it's anything's better than 100-ball cricket, mate. Even a rained-off day is better than 100-ball cricket. So it's a good win for New Zealand. Bangladesh have never won a one-day international in New Zealand, and it's a three-match series. There's a game down in Christchurch today, and then there's another game down in Dunedin, as far south as what you're really going to go, and then you're into 3 test matches. So it's a good start for New Zealand. They always do well at home, and they should be winning this series. That's as far as I'll go. They should be winning this series against Bangladesh, but it's always good to see Bangladesh give teams a bit of a run.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to see these teams kind of just keep kicking on and keep improving and keep putting the challenge out there. And the more they can tour these countries, the more opportunities they can give their players, the better they will become. It's tomorrow in my land, Rob, but I'm sure it is today for you.
It is.
For the next ODI.
It's in about 3 hours. It kicks off.
So, where is other cricket being played apart from everywhere, Rob?
Well, you know what it's like, Rich. There's always cricket going on around the world, and South Africa, Sri Lanka have got the first Test match underway in South Africa in Durban at the moment.
Underway, and I think by the time this podcast hits the light of day, it might well be over. We're at day 3 closed, and the Test match is nearly over. Sri Lanka still require another 221 runs. With 7 wickets remaining, but they are 83 for 3 at the minute with a target of 304. So it's going to be a result tomorrow, isn't it? Day 4 result. It's been a low-scoring game, Rob. 2-3-5 and 2-5-9 the scores for South Africa, 1-9-1 for Sri Lanka, and whatever they get in the next innings. Quinton de Kock with an 80, Faf du Plessis 35, Tamba Bavuma 47, bits and bobs here and there. Fernando 4 wickets. Yeah. It's been one of them Test matches, hasn't it? I'm sure it's been compelling viewing. It's not one I've been able to watch, obviously. We have to pay the bills and work sometimes. Frustrating Sri Lanka. They're a team that make a heck of a lot of starts. Karuna Ratne at the top of the order, captain in the side 30. Lots at 19, 12, 51, 23, 24 in that lineup. Somebody has got to go on and get themselves a big 50, a 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, haven't they? They can't keep doing that. Dale Steyn, 4 wickets. He's now level with Stuart Broad with wickets in Test cricket. So him and Broady are on a race now to see who can get to 500 first and join the 500 club, which is Rob, Jimmy, Glenn McGrath, and
Courtney Walsh and Murali.
Yes. Yeah, well, I'm talking about seam bowlers. Sorry.
Oh, seam bowlers. I'd say McGrath and Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah,
and Courtney Walsh, maybe.
No, definitely, you are absolutely right. So that is the 500 club. So Broady and Dale Steyn are neck and neck now, racing to that 500 mark. South Africa's second innings, the openers made a bit of a start, but it was du Plessis again, 90 for him. De Kock, 55. He's had a heck of a Test match. 4 wickets for Fernando to go with his 4 in the first innings as well. So it's all about this 4th innings now. Karuna Ratne's back in the hutch, as is Tiramani. Fernando is at 28, not out at number 3, and Pereira 12, not out. So big day ahead. I'm going to put my money on South Africa getting out in front in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. There's one guy, and I'm going to butcher some names here, so I'm sharpening my knives. Ambuladia?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah, totally. Test match debut for the 22-year-old, 5 for 66 in that South African second innings for Sri Lanka. That's a damn good effort on debut against a very good team.
100%. So once that game's finished, they'll move on to a second test in Port Elizabeth, followed by the white ball. It is the year and the season of the white ball, isn't it? It's going to be 5 ODIs, 3 T20s, which will then wrap up the South Africa-Sri Lanka series, Rob. More cricket is on the horizon. Shall we go to India, Rob?
Oh, always got time for a bit of India.
Certainly have, haven't we? 2 T20s are going to start 24th, so in the next week or so, depending on when you're listening to this, we will have 2 T20s, and then we have the ODI series coming up. Interesting selections, Rob. Look at Australia first, if we can. Out goes Peter Siddle, Mitch Marsh, Billy Stanlake. Still no place for Matthew Wade. He's scoring runs, but he's not allowed a game. Finch captaining, Pat Cummins as vice-captain, along with Alex Carey. So they're sharing the vice-captains and duties in this new-look Australian setup. In Kane Richardson and Nathan Coulter-Nile, and the hard-hitting batsman, Ashton Turner.
You know the name that sticks out for me in the whole of this team?
Glenn Maxwell.
No, Marcus Stoinis.
Marcus Stoinis, not Mitchell.
No, not Mitchell. But my IPL 2018 MVP prediction didn't quite work out.
MVP.
He has had a stunning Big Bash, mate. He's in the runs every single game, except last game. He's in the runs virtually every single game, and he's clicking as a cricketer. And now he's older than what you think. He's 29. But he's really starting to come to his own. He's an absolute stud muffin. He's top draw, mate.
Yeah, Yeah, good. And this Australia team, we keep saying it, this Australian team and squad is starting to just fill out a little bit, isn't it? I'm certainly not going to be undervaluing this white ball setup as it comes into the World Cup. And this, we should say, is the squad for both the T20 and the ODI series. So I'll quickly rattle through it. Aaron Finch, Pat Cummins, Alex Carey, Jason Berendorf, Coulter Nile, Hanscom, Usman Khawaja, Nathan Lyon, Sean Marsh, Glenn Maxwell, Jai Richardson, Kane Richardson, Darcy Shaw, Marcus Stoinis, Ashton Turner and Adam Zampa. Some of them are like Brazilian footballers. They only have surnames now. Others have full names.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's absolutely top draw, Rich. I'm gonna doff my cap.
There was no reason. I was just getting lazy. India, they have the joy and the ability to pick a T20 squad and an ODI squad, Rob. So T20s, we have Virat Kohli, surprise, surprise, is captain. Rohit Sharma is his vice. Shikhar Dhawan, KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant, Dinesh Karthik, MS Dhoni, evergreen MS Dhoni. We have the two Pandyas. We have Vijay Shankar, Yuzvendra Chahal, Mayank Markande starting to get himself into the setup. Umesh Yadav, Siddharth Kaul, and JJ Bumrah.
It's good. It's really,
Solid.
really good. It's everyone you would expect, except Mayank Markande. Now, I don't know a lot about this guy. He's not played a lot of cricket.
Had a good IPL last year. He was on the shortlist for our IPL team of the tournament.
Your memory is better than mine. He's just been taking some wickets. He got 5 for recently against England Lions in a first-class game. He got 3 for and 2 for in the List A games against them. He's only played 18 T20 games, but 20 wickets in 18 games at an average of 24. They highly rate him.
Yeah, absolutely, Rob, absolutely. And it's just worth looking at ODI squad as well. Obviously, the same captain, the same vice-captain in Kohli and Sharma. We have Shikhar Dhawan and Batu Rayudu, Kedar Jadhav, MS Dhoni again, Hardik Pandya, JJ Bumrah, Mohammad Shami gets a call, Yuzvendra Chahal, Kuldeep Yadav, Vijay Shankar, Rishabh Pant, KL Rahul, and then we have a bit of a fiddle around with Siddharth Kaul, who is in there for the first 2 ODIs, and then he will be replaced by the brilliantly named Bhuvaneshwar. I always just love saying that name, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar.
Yeah, strong teams, mate. This Indian team, you can almost set your watch by it a bit at the moment in terms of the white ball stuff. So you'll have Chahal, you'll have Yadav bowling, you'd have Kedar Yadav bowling as well. They're such a strong team, and it doesn't matter who's going to be bowling, but take someone like the Pandya brothers, right? They stepped up in New Zealand. They both bowled really, really well. Hardik Pandya got some runs as well when he went chatting up with the birds. They're just a really good team, and I'm interested to see how they go against a good Aussie team. Not a great Aussie team, a good Aussie team, as really their last test before the World Cup.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be a tough one for Australia, but if this Australia needs to be taken seriously, they're going to have to really show they've got something here. So we will certainly see about that one. India, the squad's deep, man. It's like proper deep, isn't it? That's as best as we can sum it up, I reckon. It's just incredible depth of talent in that squad, and there are players easily being left out that would walk into other setups. So a really, really strong place to be for India as we move towards the World Cup season. It
is World Cup season, and it's also, Rich,
yes,
getting near the end of Big Bash season as well. Finally, the end of Big Bash season.
Big Bash. Did this start I don't mean like last year as in before Christmas. Did this start like last year, last cricket season? It seems to have gone on forever.
It's the longest tournament in the world.
It's a pretty good tournament, and it's one of those where I think at another time we might have been able to try and dig deeper into it, but there's so much going on in world cricket, we can't always get into everything. Do you know what, Rob? One day I think we need to probably have just a T20 podcast for the Leading Edge as well. Literally just running through the year parallel to whatever we do. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll do that at some point. But yeah, we have completed semi-finals, Rob. We have a final lineup. We have a Melbourne final. The Renegades against the Stars to be played 17th of February over this weekend at, guess where, Rob? Melbourne, at the G, at the MCG. The final will be played. Shall we just have a quick look at what happened in the semi-finals? Yes, okay. So, first semi-final, at Hobart, the Hurricanes hosting the Stars. And the Stars won by 6 wickets with 7 balls remaining. Pretty much a cruise. 153 for 7 for the Hurricanes. Matthew Wade, he keeps making a noise about wanting to play getting call-ups. He only got himself 2 at the top of the order. It was Darcy Short, it was the McDermott Jr., and it was George Bailey, 37 there, 53 for McDermott. They got the runs. 4 wickets for Dan Worrell, though. He got himself man of the match. This game also had the likes of Sandeep Lamichan playing, which I just love the fact that he's still doing well in this. In reply to the Stars, it was an all-round effort, really. Stoinis, 18, opening the order. Hanscom, 35. Maddinson, 18. But it was Glenn Maxwell, Rob, your favourite, 43 not out. And a bloke called Gotch.
A bloke called Gotch.
Sebastian Edward Gotch. God love you. I had no idea who you were, but I do now. He is a 25-year-old wicketkeeper batsman, right-hand bat. And he got himself some runs as well to finish things off, 33 off 22. 3 for 33 for Kais Ahmed as well, so that's a good going for him. Jofra Archer played in that game, 1 for 33, but we won't be seeing any more of him in this tournament.
No, so it's going to be the Stars, and who are the Stars going to be going up against?
The Renegades. So Melbourne Renegades won by 3 wickets with 1 ball remaining. 1 ball remaining, Rob. They were hosting the Sixers, so hometown, maybe the hometown kind of crowd just pushed them over the edge on this one. But Sixers, they batted first, 180 for 3. Decent, not really. You'd have been happy with this. Philippe, 52. Hughes, 52, opened the batting. James Vince, 28. We might be talking about him again soon, Rob. Woe is me.
Awkward.
Moises Enriquez as well, 28 not out. Got them in good position. So, 183. Probably a decent score, but not quite enough, obviously. 1 ball remaining, 184 for 7. Sixers certainly got through the lineup, but they didn't get quite far enough. Aaron Finch, 44 at the top of the order. A very sedate of 41 balls for him. Harper, 36, wicketkeeper, and then 31 for our boy, Dan Christian. 31 not out of 14 balls. Strike rate 221 was the absolute key innings, key moment. That's all it was. 14 balls, turned the game, and he got the Renegades over the line to set up the Melbourneian final.
An all Melbourneian final.
A Melbourneian final.
I'm quite looking forward to this because this kicks off about 7:45 p.m. New Zealand time on Sunday. So that's early morning, Sunday morning UK time. And are you going Renegades or are you taking the Stars?
I have absolutely no idea. Which one was Dan Christian playing for? Renegades. Give me Dan Christian.
I'm going with the Stars because they've got Stoinis.
Oh, my word. You're going to die on that hill, aren't you?
I am. And they've also got Hush Hush Lamachan in the team as well. You see what I'm doing there? That's a song.
But you didn't sing it, though, so I don't know what you mean.
Oh, okay. Hush Hush Lamachan.
I still don't know what
don't know what it is. I've been doing it in my head for the last minute. I've been like, don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. Oh, no, it's mad.
The problem was, no matter if you sang that like a beautiful angel, I would have still gone, I still don't get what you're saying.
Still go get it. Say it again. Do it again.
Yeah, don't get it. So that's what we have. Australia T20. That's coming. Do you know what else is happening? I don't know if we can go into it now, but Pakistan Super League is back, Rob.
Yes, Multan Sultans.
Multan Sultans, the Islamabad United. We have the Karachi Kings, the Peshawar Zalmi. We have the Quetta Gladiators, the Lahore Qalandars, and the Multan Sultans. It started 2 games in. There's already been fireworks. It's just a fun tournament. I enjoy looking at this one. Obviously, we don't get to see a lot of it, but it's just a good tournament. We have the likes of Ian Bell playing, Rob, Samit Patel, Philip Salt. Philip Salt is playing for Islamabad United.
Who's Philip Salt playing for? Because whoever's team he's on, that's who I'm supporting.
Islamabad United, the Sussex big hitting opening batsman.
Oh, it's a difficult one to know where to go with. I'm looking at something here. So, Quetta Gladiators have got Bravo playing. They've got Watson. They've got Nawaz. They've got Ahmed Shahzad, the Afghanistan opener as well.
Oh, big lad. We like him, don't we?
We do.
Harry Gurney's.
Gurney. Karachi Kings have got Babar Azam. Ravi Bapar is getting a game.
Ravi Bapar is in there, isn't he? Ravi Bapar was man of the series. Was it I can't remember if it was the inaugural PSL or 2017's PSL, but he was man of the tournament. What else Karachi Kings have got, Rob? Sikandar Raza. Underrated player. Zimbabwean. Really, really good. But Babar Azam as well. That's a really good pickup, isn't it? Liam Livingston, easy for me to say. He's in there as well, the Englishman. He's had a good start. and Colin Munro as well. So that's not a bad side, is it?
Yeah, that side could go bang. I'm not sure on the overseas rule how many can play in each game, but some of these teams kind of get you going a bit. Lahore, they've got Hafiz, they've got De Villiers, they've got Fakir Zaman, they've got Shaheen Afridi, the very young Pakistani that's coming up and coming Pakistani at the moment, who's doing very well for himself.
Yeah, Anton Devcic as well. He's somebody that probably isn't the household name, but every time we look at these overseas tournaments, these T20 tournaments, that man is scoring runs and he scores them consistently. So that's one. They've also got Sandeep Lamachan as well. I don't know if there's a song there or not.
I don't know. Hush, hush, Lamachan.
Corey Anderson is there. And I think you said as well, didn't you, Shaheen Afridi as well. So Brendan Taylor as well, the old Notts player, the Zimbabwean captain. Pretty good going, isn't it? Who do you want to look at next, Rob? Is it Moulton Sultans?
I'm all about Moulton Sultans. Captained by Shoaib Malik, Shahid Afridi in the team, Andre Russell, Dre Russ, who went massive in the CPL the other year, Mohammed Irfan, all 7'12" of him, and my favourite seam bowler at the moment, Mohammed Abbas. The great team.
It's pretty good, isn't it? James Vince is in there as a replacement to Joe Denley. Dan Christian, Tom Moores. That's a surprise to me. Nottinghamshire's up-and-coming young wicket-keeper batsman. Laurie Evans as well, Warwickshire. Pretty impressive middle-order batsman or top middle-order. You know what I'm saying. 3 or 4. What is that?
3 or 4. 3 or 4.
3 or 4. So that's a pretty good team as well. They're all pretty good teams. Who have we not covered yet, Rob? Have we covered Peshawar Zalmi?
We have not. Captained by the man with a stadium named after him, Darren Sammy.
What a man. I love that. Kyron Pollard's in there as well. Hassan Ali, Wahab Riaz, Cameron Akmal.
How's he still playing?
This is Pakistan Super League, mate. He just probably waits all year just to come and play this game. He was also a man of the series, wasn't he, in one of the previous tournaments? So, it's a good time. Misbar Liam Dawson, Dawid Malan. Wasn't long ago that he was trying to make a name from an England setup, wasn't it? Wayne Madsen. Sorry, hang on a sec. Stop the world. Wayne Madsen. Is it Derbyshire's opening batsman?
I think so. I want to say Derbyshire or Leicestershire.
I love the fact that Wayne Madsen is playing for Peshawar Zalmi. This man scores runs.
Hey,
this
Derby.
is a great pickup.
Derby boy.
Yeah, Derbyshire. He scored a lot of runs over the last few years. When you're looking at potential openers for England, I'm not saying he would be in a conversation because of age and blah, 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 but he is always somebody that when you're looking at who scored runs, he's up there. So that's a cracker, that is. Chris Jordan as well is in that setup. Have we covered them all, Rob?
Yep, that's it. Oh, no, we've got Islamabad United.
Well, we mentioned him briefly. Mohammed Sami, captain then. Shadab Khan, Luke Ronchi, he's another one. He always seems to do really, really well in these types of tournaments. Ian Bell, somebody close to this podcast will be delighted to see that. But it's not very good practice if he wants to play in the test side then. Samit Patel, Philip Salt, this is the Salt United team. Hussein Talat, Cam Delport, Wayne Parnell, Zahir Khan, Ahmad Butt, Rizwan Hassan, amongst others. There's some really, really good teams there. And it's just an exciting tournament. There's something about this tournament that does actually just get my attention. And it's going to be interesting to see kind of, how it goes. And we will certainly kind of keep an eye on it, won't we?
We will. Who's your team?
Oh, I'm going to go Sammy. I'm going to go with my Notts man. I'm going to go Islamabad United.
It's a good choice. I am going to go Moulton Sultans, just because I think it's probably the best team name in world cricket.
It is. I think I went purely on name last season, and they went out to a red-hot start, and I was feeling very, very smug, pretending it was not just because I picked the name.
Yeah.
And then I think they sunk like they had lead boots. So, but
yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, they played one, lost one, mate. It's not going very well, I'll be honest.
Oh, man. Yeah, who knows? But it's fun. It's fun. It's cricket. We love it.
We bloody love it. And I reckon that, around the world in about an hour and 5 minutes, is everything that's going on in the world of cricket in about an hour and 5 minutes.
It is. We should probably, though, just end this podcast by saying kudos to my captain, Joe Root, for kind of making a little bit of a name for himself outside of cricketing circles as well as within cricketing circles this week with his response to Shannon Gabriel.
Yes, that is a very, very good way to end it.
Shannon Gabriel basically was being a little bit... Now, do you know what? We don't need to fill in these. I think we're all right with that.
Yeah, I agree, Rich. Not really much we can say about it. It's not part of cricket. It shouldn't be part of cricket. It shouldn't be part of everyday life and things like that. Should definitely not be a slur against someone. So he's got a 4-match ban for his troubles. They snapped a picture together in the dressing room atmosphere, like all was good again. And yeah, it's just one of them you don't really want to see in cricket.
Absolutely not, and I'm sure Shannon Gabriel's. I'm sure he's obviously regretting what he said. It's just one of those things that I'm sure it's part of banter, isn't it? But yeah, no place. Joe Root, bless you, you've done a grand thing there, mate. You've really progressed things on, I reckon, in sport just for that moment of standing up for something as you should do. But credit and kudos to you, my man. It obviously is now going to beg the question of stump mics. That is the next conversation. Moeen Ali has come out and even said, "Turn it up." Turn up the stump cameras. Why should we just hear just little bits here and there what we want to hear? You often hear the commentators chuckling in the background, don't you? The stump mic that they can hear. Let's all hear it. Maybe it'll cut down on a little bit of this chirp that goes around cricket. But yeah, that's how we'll end it, I reckon. Rob, Joe Root, well done, man.
Joe Root, the man. What a great way to finish it. Thank you so much for your time, Rich, as always. Cracking times. And a good way to finish the series for England, and we'll roll on to the one-day internationals next week.